Hi, this is Mike Power, President and CEO of Silver Range Resources, and here's a quick look at our East Goldfield project. Quick word from our lawyers. The East Goldfield project is located about 8 miles east of the town of Goldfield, halfway twixt Reno and Las Vegas. In its day, Goldfield was the richest gold camp in North America, producing 4.2 million ounces from about 7 million tons of ore at the Goldfield main deposit right near town. Currently, Waterton Resources is bringing the Gemfield and McMahon Ridge deposits on stream, moving the highway just north of Goldfield. Here's a look at mineral tenure in the district. Gemfield has all of the patented claims and lode claims in this area here, covering the Goldfield Main, Gemfield, and McMahon Ridge deposits. The only other block in the area is Silver Range's East Goldfield project. Gold mineralization in the Goldfield area occurs in a unique geologic setting. At the base of this succession are basement rocks consisting of metasediments and elasticite. They're exposed locally in the western portion of the Goldfield area through uplift and erosion. They're overlain by a volcanic sequence, at the base of which are several felsic units and then a Goldfield latite. This in turn is overlain by the Milltown andesite and Goldfield dacite. These two units host most of the gold mineralization in the Goldfield area. In the southeastern portion of the district, there's a unique deposit mapped by the USGS as a landslide deposit. It's a breccia, composed of fragments of both the Goldfield dacite and the Milltown andesite. All of these rock units are intensely altered. More of that in a subsequent slide. Finally, the whole sequence is covered by sediments and volcanics in a package of cover rocks shown here. The structure in this area is fascinating. There's a circular pattern of faults and fractures overlying a presumed buried intrusion here that served as perhaps the heat engine and the structural control on the gold mineralization in the Goldfield district. Associated with this ring fracture system is a feeder fracture system over here in the southeast. The gold deposits appear to be structurally controlled and are on the periphery of the fracture system. You can see here the Goldfield main deposit where 4.2 million ounces were extracted, and then the smaller Gemfield and McMahon Ridge deposits. Intense quartz alunite alteration is associated with the deposits in the Goldfield area and also with the structure. You can see here how the quartz alunite alteration outlined in Landsat imagery follows the circular ring fracture system around the presumed buried intrusion at the source of the Goldfield camp and follows this feeder fracture system off here to the southeast. It was at Goldfield where high sulfidation style mineralization was first recognized. This occurs in a subvolcanic setting, generally above buried intrusions, which serve as both a heat engine and a source for metals. Ascending vapor strikes the base of the water table and creates an intensely acidic solution, which ascends to surface along fractures or permeable units, including breccias, leaching them out to create a core of vuggy silica. The ascending vapors include chlorine, fluorine, and hydrogen sulfide. When these mix with water, they form a solution that has a pH of about 1. This is sufficient to remove virtually all the minerals in the rocks adjacent to the fractures or permeable units, leaving only a spongy mass of quartz. This is the vuggy silica. There's an envelope surrounding the vuggy silica of quartz alunite. Alunite's an alteration product largely of potassium feldspar. It's a sulfate. Finally, there are less intensely altered zones surrounding the quartz alunite envelope. The mineralization occurs in two stages. During the first stage, the highly acidic fluids ascend to surface, leaching out the core to create the vuggy silica and then the envelope of quartz alunite surrounding it. But these are basically preparing the ground. This is not the mineralizing fluid. That occurs in a second stage. If you're lucky enough, you get a fluid ascending with a slightly higher pH, it's less acidic, and it carries the ore metals, which are dropped out basically by mixing with shallow meteoric water. A unique feature of these deposits is that many of them never make it to surface. In this fortunate case in the Andes, high uplift and erosion expose this deposit, but the majority of the gold mineralization actually occurs at depth and would never have been detected were it not for erosion. You can see here the core of this deposit at greater than 2 grams per ton basically only outcrops in 1 or 2 areas by virtue of erosion. We see many of these features in the East Goldfield target area, the most significant of which is this breccia unit, mapped as a landslide unit by the USGS. The breccia is composed of fragments of both the Milltown andesite and the Goldfield dacite, so it clearly postdates it. It's locally fault bounded and it's intensely altered. You can see here the alteration of the breccia unit in an area we call the alteration hills on the east end of the target area. Now, while mapped as a landslide deposit, an alternative interpretation is that this is actually a hydrothermal breccia. It's composed of subangular to subrounded milled clast set in a matrix of clay and limonite. It's also the locus of anomalous geochemical responses. The East Goldfield project is on the periphery of the Goldfield mining district, and it hasn't seen the same intense level of exploration as you'd find closer to Goldfield. Nonetheless, there's one significant showing. This is the Tom Keene mine you can see in the photograph, and there are numerous smaller exploration workings, most likely dating from the period of the Tom Keene mine. In addition, in the early 2000s, Metallic Gold Ventures did a limited amount of drilling in the area of the Tom Keene mine. We don't know the early history at the Tom Keene mine. We're still looking for that. But sometime before 1931, Goldfield Deep Mines completed a 500-foot inclined shaft and development on 4 levels. Best assays that we've been able to find were from a 1935 report evaluating the property, in which 11 meters at 2.88 grams was returned at the 300-foot level, and 3 meters at 4.1 grams was returned on the 200-foot level. There are many other exploration workings throughout the area. This is a partial compilation. We haven't walked every foot of it yet, but there are numerous adits, shafts, trenches, and incline shafts dating likely from the time of the Tom Keene mine. More modern exploration was conducted in the target area by Romarco in the late 1990s and Metallic Ventures Gold during the early 2000s. We only have firm records from Metallic Ventures, who drilled 10 holes in an area very much restricted to the Tom Keene mine. We don't know the total footage, we don't have the drill locations, but we do have the intercepts. The best intercept was about 44 meters at a gram in terms of length, and the highest grade intercept was 8.23 grams over 4.5 meters. Intercepts are reported in 9 of the 10 holes, and the press release said that all the holes showed anomalous gold. In the East Goldfield area, you find scores of resistant silica ribs. These follow fractures and faults, and they form classic high sulfidation vuggy quartz ledges. There's also pervasive quartz alunite alteration, which of course you saw from the landside imagery. To assess the potential of this breccia unit to host gold mineralization, we ran stream sediment and soil geochemical surveys. All the drainages in this area drain to the south. Here are the results for gold. As you can see in this slide and in subsequent slides, most of the response appears to be shed from a structural axis that follows pretty much the center of the landslide unit. Here are the results for arsenic. They're notably stronger in the eastern end of the property area in a region we call the Alteration Hills. In this area, the landslide or breccia unit is most intensely altered. And finally, here's the copper response. Once again, seems to follow the axis of the landslide deposits. Turning to the soil geochemical response, we find much the same pattern. Here's the gold response, once again following the breccia unit, the arsenic response, and finally bismuth, an important pathfinder element in high sulfidation deposits. We've only done preliminary rock sampling, and I have to confess it's very opportunistic. We basically collected grabs from waste dumps or the backs of adits at significant showings that we encountered during the soil geochem survey. The best results were returned from the area of the Tom Keene mine, where one sample returned up to 0.85 grams. We consider the gold results that we see here merely as indicative that the system is fertile. If there is a gold deposit in this area, we think it's buried at depth. We think East Goldfield's a great place to look for a gold deposit. It's within 8 miles of 3 deposits hosting more than 5 million ounces gold. The property area is underlain by the same rocks, which show the same style of mineralization and the same style and intensity of alteration that you find near the 3 ore deposits. We know that the structural system is fertile. We see that from the geochemical leakage of pathfinder elements, including gold, and from the fact that the structural corridor through the East Goldfield project extends right to the Goldfield main deposit. There are 2 prospective hosts for a large deposit in the East Goldfield area. The first is the landslide or hydrothermal breccia unit, and the second is an extensive regolith that's mapped underneath the Milltown andesite in the Goldfield area and most likely extends right out through the East Goldfield target area. Finally, we know the system has gold because we've seen it at depth in drill holes and in sampling at the Tom Keene mine. All in all, we think East Goldfield could be a real winner.